Some thinking today fears that if a revolution was to begin, that there is a danger of it opening things up to hostile elements which would hijack the situation. Understand this. A hostile takeover has already taken place everywhere in our nation. It is we who have yet to engage on our part. We cannot know God's ways in which He chooses to restore a people, but we can look at some seize the moments God has granted. In Tennessee, at the end of 1945, 3,000 battle-hardened veterans returned to McMinn County, located between Chattanooga and Knoxville in the eastern part of the state. They were shocked and angered by what they found. Their county and towns were completely corrupted, with bribes common throughout the police and sheriff's department and among the political figures, along with many other illegal activities, and an entrenched political machine that openly practiced fraud that resulted in the stealing of elections. The machine guaranteed the re-election of the controlling political party and their hold on power in the years of 1940, 42, and 44 in the county. Just before the 1946 elections, a GI, in a speech at a rally opposing the political machine, said, "The principles that we fought for in this past war do not exist in McMinn County. We fought for democracy because we believe in democracy, but not the form we live under in this county." 159 GIs of McMinn County petitioned the FBI to send election monitors, as well as the Justice Department to investigate the 1940, 42, and 44 elections for fraud. Their repeated requests were ignored. The GIs decided to run for office on a nonpartisan ticket to rid the county of corruption. Sheriff Mansfield, part of the political mob machine, brought in 200 armed deputies on the day of the election to intimidate the voters, which included beating some of them with brass knuckles. The primary election was held on Thursday, August 1st, 1946, and when GI poll watchers showed up, they were immediately beaten by the deputies. As the day wore on, force and intimidation continued. When deputies shot one voter in the back for casting the wrong vote, resolve in the crowd began to rapidly swell. Because of the brutalities and because the GIs were refused the right to watch the ballots being cast, tensions increased. At 4:45 p.m., 1,000 people had gathered across the street of the 11th Precinct. The crowd was made up of many men who had just liberated Europe and the South Pacific from two of the most powerfully corrupt war machines in human history. Those who fought in the war that had liberated other lands now faced having to live under intolerable, oppressive conditions themselves. They decided that by no means were they going to live under tyranny in their own homeland. As two of the political machine's armed guards arrogantly came toward the crowd to intimidate them and ready to shoot, the GIs, without any weapons, rushed them before they could shoot a target, and put them under guard at a tire shop near the center of town. By 5:10 p.m., when one of the precincts closed early in an illegal move to stop votes being cast, the crowd rapidly grew to literally several thousand, mostly men, strung along a 3-block area. Threats to kill some of the crowd were made by another 2 officers, who were also overcome by the crowd and added to the other 2 under guard. Then 3 more deputies came, and again the immediate reaction of the crowd was a defensive move to overcome them, placing them also into the tire store under guard. The citizens disarmed and arrested a total of 7 deputies. By 6:35 p.m., the sheriff's men, assisted by State Highway Patrol and city police, took the ballot box to the McMinn County Jail. They were equipped with high-powered rifles and several hundred pistols on display. Earlier in the day, one veteran soldier said, "Over there we had something to fight back with." Another said, "We haven't got a chance with this Gestapo." keys were obtained to the National Guard and State Guard armories, and weapons and ammo were borrowed by the GIs. By 8:45 p.m., a revolutionary army of 500 armed and battle-experienced GIs, with a few M1s and other weapons, converged on the jail. 75 deputies had barricaded themselves inside the jail with the ballot box and 3 GI hostages. Meanwhile, the army of GIs posted themselves at ground level across the street, on the roof of the power company, and on other nearby buildings. At 9 p.m., the full-fledged Battle of Athens began. Ralph Duggan, a former Navy lieutenant commander and a leader of the veteran GIs, said, "The crowd of GIs was met by gunfire, and because they had promised that the ballots would be counted as cast, they, the GIs, had no choice but to meet fire with fire." The GIs fired back at them, making a full-fledged shooting assault on the heavily fortified jail which held the deputies and 3 GI poll watchers they had taken as prisoners. Heavy shooting continued, and between 11 p.m. until 12:40 a.m., thousands of rounds were exchanged. The soldiers were pouring lead into every opening in the brick jail. GIs cut phone lines to the jail. By the wee hours of Friday morning, 2 a.m. on August 2nd, deputies said they would kill the 3 GI hostages in the jail if the army of GIs didn't stop shooting. The GIs, in turn, issued an ultimatum to surrender and come out with hands up. There was no compliance to the demands of the GIs, so in an effort to press for a victory, they made makeshift bombs and dynamited the jail. After the 4th blast, the deputies began to yell they wanted to surrender. As officers filed out, they were understandably roughly searched, disarmed, and then marched back into the jail cells and locked up. By sunrise, 4 a.m., the battle was over, and as the light of day burst forth, a war zone materialized with cars upside down, smashed and burned, and the bullet-scarred jail clearly visible alongside other buildings caught in the crossfire, telling of the previous night's Battle of Athens. By 10 a.m. Friday, the GIs were patrolling the streets, and order was established. With the GIs in complete control, the deputies were released from jail. By 4 p.m. on Saturday, a 3-man commission was elected and set up a government framework. At 9 p.m. on Saturday, August 3rd, 1,500 citizens converged on Athens with firearms to back the new government. Telephone calls came in from neighboring cities pledging aid, if needed, in defense of their town. As a result of the Battle of Athens, the new nonpartisan government restored order, cleaned up their county, and peace ensued. In the Congressional Record in Washington, D.C., Representative John Jennings, Jr. from Tennessee justified the revolution, saying, "The Justice Department's repeated failure to help the McMinn County residents led to the actions of the citizenry," adding, "At long last, decency and honesty, liberty and law have returned to the fine county of McMinn County." Water cannot stay water once it passes 212 degrees. It changes to steam. The townspeople of the county had taken their town back by "we the people," as the Declaration of Independence declares. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government. When a long train of abuses, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government, and to provide new guards for their future security. Taken from the book, Look What Happened While You Were Sleeping.
This continues in Part 2.